bring in Air Marshal Kapoor into this conversation. Air Marshal Kapoor, in your appreciation, if the pilot and the co-pilot conversation indicates that this was not done intentionally, what does this indicate?
One factor, another factor which has not come into 20 days, Gaurav, is too long a period. In my appreciation, 20 days ago, the complete data was downloaded.
Yes.
20 days is too long a period for it to be analyzed and come up with something, much more than what preliminary report has given. There is also additionally one input which nobody is talking about, that there is a cockpit camera in 787. There is a camera, the feed of which goes to this flight data recorder. It means everything that has happened in the cockpit, the actions the pilots have taken, the physical movements, has to be recorded. And that will give you a correct story as to what exactly happened. Now, it is against all, aviation minds, thought process, that why on the takeoff leg, when he is busy holding the stick, he turns 170 degrees to operate a switch which he knows is suicidal. This happens when both the engines fail, and the first action is to recycle the switches, the same switches. So in my appreciation, as an outsider, the malfunction has taken place. The crew in the limited time has given a call and tried to recycle and relight the engines. So as per the preliminary report, one engine has partly lit up, the other engine, number 2 engine, didn't light up, or was in the process of being relit when the aircraft. Now there is no enough height, the speeds are too low, altitude is too high, and the conjunctures on a lot of media channels that the undercarriage was not taken up, the flaps are not down, vice versa. Then once on ground they found both the undercarriage and flap was in the correct position. The crew in this precise, say from top of climb, in this case just 600 feet, to descent is just 17 to 18 seconds. Just visualize in 17 seconds that pilot has given a call. Those two pilots, experienced ones, have tried to recycle this fuel control levers, tried to relight the aircraft, tried to fly this aircraft, and tried to take it away. But there is nothing, neither the height or the speed for it to be maneuvered. And of course, the aircraft crash landed.
So, Mr. Atul Singh, is the indication, if both the pilots haven't done it manually, this is a computer error or some kind of an error in the systems of the aircraft? Or is that jumping the gun?
As per my opinion, this is never possible that a pilot operating a 787 Dreamliner with 8,000 hours of commanding hours under his belt will ever try to cut off the fuel line.
Yes.
At that critical time of flying out. This is, I'm not able to understand. But now, since, as per the preliminary report, which I have been telling repeatedly since long, that if the report has pointed out only one thing, that is fuel line cut-off incident, fine. How it happened, the entire focus should based upon this particular thing, that find out whether it was a human error or it was a system error, system malfunctioning, other way around you can say it. But prima facie, it can't be a pilot. No pilot in this world will resort to this kind of thing at that critical point of flight.
Because both the pilots were rested and relaxed, both the pilots were very experienced, and Ankit, when you look at the sequence of events, because when I look at this report, it's actually horrifying. It details the last moments both outside and inside that aircraft. It says as the aircraft was losing altitude, it initially made contact with a series of trees and an incineration chimney inside the Army Medical Corps compound while impacting the northeast wall of Building A. The distance between the tree and the aircraft made its initial contact, and the point of Building A where the aircraft impacted is 293 feet. The aircraft moved forward. It continued fragmenting and colliding with the structures and vegetation. The impact marks on the building and the airplane indicating a likely nose-up altitude about 8 degrees and wing level. But what was happening inside? Bring us details.
Well, Gaurav, just to explain why one of the experts pointed out it would be very counterintuitive for one of the pilots or co-pilots to make any changes on these switches as mentioned in the prelim report. The 107 degrees angle, you see, the pilots and co-pilots sit here. And the switch is, while it is accessible to both of them, it is not the primary switch that they operate. The switch is roughly around 107, 110 degrees. So it is definitely very much counterintuitive for any pilot to make any changes while the aircraft is mid-air or just taking off. Two questions from our experts. First, based on what evidence do you believe that the AIB has kind of ruled out any mechanical failures? Because if there was no mechanical failure, as it has been pointed out in 15 page prelim report, there has to be some clarity, some transparency as to based on what evidence the investigators have concluded that there was no mechanical failure. And in case there is no evidence, would it not have made more sense to issue some kind of guidelines, some kind of advisory to all other airlines who are operating these kind of aircraft, the 787 Dreamliners and the GE engines? So that two questions for our experts, Gaurav.
Oh, absolutely. And the FAA report, Air Marshal Kapoor, let me bring you in on this FAA report, because when you look at one Special Airworthiness Information Bulletin, AAIB, and the recommendations and the aircraft models, when it says if the locking feature is disengaged, the switch can be moved between the two positions without lifting the switch during transition, and the switch would be exposed to the potential of inadvertent operation. Inadvertent operation of the switch could result in an unintended consequences, such as an in-flight engine shutdown. The list of aircraft, airplane model and the switch, it has the 787-8, 9 and 10 also listed. What would you make of this report, sir?
These advisory special bulletins keep coming, and it is for the regulating authority and the maintenance team of this particular airlines. Being a commercial, ventures, all of them, they do not wish to keep the aircraft on ground for too long. These modifications, these checks, so they generally combine it when the aircraft is going in for routine servicing, when the aircraft is going for overhauls, when it is going for repairs. At that stage, the club, this is the normal technical practice for all these modifications. But certain bulletins are binding by the operators that the airlines and the maintenance team have to action. There is no doubt on that. But certain things are advisory. This is a gray area. This is a gray area in the sense that you say, okay, we have got the advisory, but we will implement as and when the aircraft goes in for servicing or overall or at that stage. The switch, as per this FA, is, I think, so similar on all the Boeing variants. It is indicating 737, 747s, and the other variants, and also all the variants of 787 also. So the other colleague panelist who is on board now is raised a very pertinent point as to say that how do we know that engine failed because of the operation of the switch? Was it a malfunction or was it done at? To every pilot, to every air crew on takeoff leg, it is suicidal. It is suicidal to
Absolutely.
shut down the engines. No sane person, and even if somebody does, he cannot do without discussing with the other pilot and the other pilot. Next point, not related to this thing, is globally, all flights more than 8 hours, the 3 pilots go in every cockpit. 3 pilots go. So this is a 10-hour flight. Ideally, Air India too had 3 pilots. I don't know why they reduced it. I'm not saying the third pilot in any way would have helped, but the third set of eyes in the cockpit would have certainly contributed if any such thing is happening, by telling the pilots who are looking ahead at this stage. This is another input I have on this.